Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Okay, here we go. A quick video. I wanted to do a video on this guy, on Amjad Khan. He recently did a video. Why are Ahmadis leaving Pakistan with Rabia Mehmood on on her channel, which is Naya Daur of TV, and he told a lot of lies. He lied about everything. That's his job. He's a lawyer. In America, lawyers are taught to lie. In fact, I think he works in the corporate world in LA, which is totally corrupt. The entire system is corrupt. So here we go. I'm just going to jump right into it. Uh, so there's a lot going on with the Ahmadiyya asylum refugee scandal in Malaysia, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. Ahmadis are stuck. They're dying. The Khalifa knows about it. The Khalifa doesn't care. They're doing it for chanda. They're using humanity first as a front organization. It's all messed up. It's all messed up. So let me just tell you what they talked about. Um, and I got it all written up here. Let me share the screen, and I'll go straight to the blog. There it is. I'm sure you guys can see it. So they present a list of incidents at the 121 mark and deaths and injuries that have happened to the Ahmadiyya community. However, these are lies. It's unverifiable. So here's what they presented. Oh, well, wasn't this one? So they present this list, and they say, look, there were 177 deaths of Ahmadis. It doesn't give the years. It doesn't give anything. There was one attack on a place of worship. Okay, that's the majority of of this, and then we don't even know all these target killings are lies. Okay, it's not even true. A mob violence. Where's the corroborating references? We don't understand. Where did Rabia get this information from? It's all fabricated. You know, all this information is totally fabricated. It's not true. It's from Ahmadiyya sources. Excuse me. Ahmadiyya sources are lying. Ahmadiyya sources have been lying for years and years and years. It's not a big, like, this is their normal behavioral process. This is just what they do. So that list is totally whack. So okay, then they present a data from a violence registry. But what is this violence registry? Look, here's what they present. They say in 2010 was the deadliest year, the highest number of casualties, and it was half of the incidents. Well, that was the attack that the Ahmadiyya movement paid for. And yes, I'm saying it clearly. The 2010 attack on the Ahmadiyya places of worship, the Ahmadiyya movement did that to themselves, most likely. And we got research on that coming out soon. There was no reason for any terrorist groups to do anything like that. You know, we think it was purposely set up by the Ahmadiyya movement. These are sick people. They don't care if Ahmadis die. You think the Ahmadiyya movement incorporated, the AMJI out of London, cares if Ahmadis die? Not a chance. They're in it for the money. So I showed you this list. What else is on it? 2018 was the highest number of faith-based violent incidents. What does that even mean? Religious discrimination, blasphemy, accusations, target. These are all lies. There's no corroborating evidence for any of this. Where do they even get the numbers from? Where do they even get these statistics from? No one even knows. No one knows at all. So whatever. They've done this, right? So okay, what else? Yeah. So this is Rabia Mehmood. I don't know why she did this. Maybe she's being manipulated by Ahmadis. She doesn't know Afaf Azhar. She doesn't know Noman Alam. She hasn't researched all the data that we've presented, nor does she probably care. She probably doesn't even care. She's like, no, the Ahmadiyya movement they've been greasing the government. They've been greasing the United Nations. The Ahmadiyya movement were with the colonists. They were with the British. So why would they go away? You know, until the British government goes away, the Ahmadiyya movement isn't going to go away, right? And Pakistan is just a puppet government, just like Afghanistan, just like Saudi, just like everything in North Africa and the entire continent of Africa. Okay, there are four economic zones and four governments in the world: the French, the British, actually it's five: the Dutch, the Russians, and the Americans. And I'm part of the last one, right? So this is what it is. The world is being persecuted. The world is being manipulated by these five governments That's the story. So what is all of this BS that Amjad Khan is doing with Rabia Mehmood? And I hope the people of Pakistan don't think they're free and they got their own country. They're being controlled by the outside, on the outside. So it's like it's total nonsense. But okay, what else did they talk about? Oh, Rabia says there's properties of Ahmadis is getting forcibly taken. That's a lie. When did that happen? Show us independent reports, not reports from the Ahmadiyya movement that they gave to these UNHCR. They've manipulated all of these fake and false organizations. Then at the 220 mark, she shows Ahmadiyya graveyards that have been vandalized, but there's no referencing. How do we know what graveyards these are? You know, she doesn't show. And then what's the history of graveyards in Pakistan? I've heard they're free. Now in America, you got to buy a graveyard. You got not a graveyard, you got to buy a grave site. In fact, I have a bunch of family members who are buried in a graveyard in California. You got to buy those plots, and people are selling them in between each other, you know, in a real messed up way. You know, and some people got control of them, and now they're selling them for double and quadruple the price, right? So in the Ahmadiyya movement, if you did wasiyat and you pay 10% a month and 30% of your property when you die, you get to go to a special graveyard. And I've heard in Pakistan the government gives out free graveyards to different communities. So there's more going on here than she's even willing to explain. So at the 248 mark, she claims that the police is helping people to persecute Ahmadis. That's a total lie. She thinks the police can control people. The police cannot control people. Even in America, if there's a mob of 100 people, the police are powerless. So Amjad Khan just lies about the whole thing. He pretends like there's justice in America or something like that. There's no justice. There's no peace. All the courts are corrupt. They all hate minorities. And et cetera, et cetera. It's a long, drawn out process. Yeah, they made all these statements. Where are your references? Can we check them? You know, if it's Ahmadiyya sources, we know it's a lie, but we still want to double check, right? So, okay, where was I? Yeah, the wasiyat scam, right? So, okay, then she says, oh, the police are helping them. You can't, if you're a Qadiani-Ahmadi, you cannot write the kalima on your place of worship. It's a building code. It's a building code, right? In California, you can't have minarets so high. You're in the residential area, you can't build a minaret. That's like, these are building codes. The Ahmadiyya movement has been told you cannot, after 1984, you cannot have minarets. They still build minarets. Stop building them. Why are you? So the Ahmadiyya movement's doing this on purpose. They're purposely telling Ahmadis to do these things. Go and write the kalima on your place of worship. Wear a kalima badge. Let's go provoke everyone. Give out our literature. Bro, it's against the law. Why are you encouraging Ahmadis to break the law? So that's the big thing. And of course, the police are going to help in the removal of the kalima and the minaret and the mihrab, because it's the law. So when the law says go ahead and remove it, the police are going to be there. So why are you lying so much? Amjad Khan, so this is the guy. He's a total liar, total overconfident, you name it. Man, just one of the sickest people you've ever met, honestly. But he's a Harvard lawyer, so they're using him. His grandfather was a Murabbi, so they trust him. His dad gave a lot of chanda, so they trust him. See, so these are the issues. So, okay, what else? At the 3-minute mark, she says Ordinance 20 is state-sponsored terrorism. That is a total lie. That's one of the biggest lies I've ever heard of. First off, I think Ordinance 20, Mirza Tahir Ahmad wanted it to pass. He wanted to get Ahmadis asylum. This is all a plan, you know, and then they went on and on about people. Ahmadis love Pakistan. They don't want to leave. Bro, everyone in Pakistan is trying to leave. 99%. They want to come to America or the West. They think they're going to get rich. They watch movies. They watch TV. Everyone wants to leave. Mirza Tahir Ahmad set it up. Now you can leave and come here. In the 1980s, there were 2 wars going on in that area. the Iran-Iraq war, and the Russians were in Afghanistan. So why do you want to be there, right? So if Ahmadis are serious, they would they would make the United Nations pressure the government of India and allow Ahmadis to move to India. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, our cultures don't match. We don't, he even said Ahmadis they're suffering in America because they have to transition. It's so hard. But if you go to India, you ain't got to go to Malaysia. You ain't got to go to Thailand. You ain't got to go to Sri Lanka. See, so it's all BS. It's all lies, man. And they got the biggest liar up there talking for them. And then she says, well, it's not us saying Ordinance 20 state sponsors persecution. It's international human rights groups. Those are all the international human rights groups that the Ahmadiyya movement has manipulated and fed lies to. And no one's double checked their lies. Why? Because they're kissing up. Because Ahmadiyya movement kisses up to state governments and state officials and congressmen and senators. They're up there rubbing their noses deep, and they like it. They love to kiss up. Right? So, okay. At the 5-minute mark, she asks Amjad, why are Ahmadis leaving Pakistan? He says, oh, no, they love Pakistan. They're being forced to leave. That is a bunch of BS. No one's being forced to leave Pakistan. You can move to Rabwa, no one's going to bother you. You could be anywhere in Pakistan and be an Ahmadi, no one will know. You go out doing tabligh and selling pork and breaking the law and trying to sell your literature or hand out your literature, you're going to get in trouble. Stop trying to go out, have debates. Razi's out here trying to have debates with people. And in Islam, you don't have to have religious debates. It's not a requirement. You don't have to do tabligh. But so in the Ahmadiyya movement, religious freedom means the ability to go do tabligh. That's not true. Religious freedom is you could pray in your own house. You can go to your temple. Pray in your temple. No one's going to stop you. So, okay. This guy is just lying about so much. And then Rabia brings up Sri Lanka. She says she spoke to some people in Sri Lanka who've had their homes attacked. Knock it off. What about the sons of Nuruddin who had their homes attacked in Rabwa? What about the ex-Ahmadis that were killed in Qadian? Fakhruddin Multani, Bashir Ahmed Misri. What about everything the Ahmadiyya movement has done to their own people? Knock it off, man. And then he goes on to say Ahmadis love Pakistan. They can't say Assalamu alaikum in public. When I was in Pakistan 2003, 2004, I went to my dad's village. I said Assalamu alaikum to over hundreds of people. No one said anything to me. So y'all need to knock this off. They're afraid to pray at their places of worship. In America, there's been more mosque shootings in the West than there have been on Ahmadiyya places of worship in Pakistan. Where do we go? The cops are shooting minorities in America. Where do we go for asylum? See how ridiculous it is what this guy is saying? Then he says Ahmadis are afraid to give sadaqah. Afraid to give sadaqah? Ahmadis don't even give sadaqah. Ahmadis pay chanda to the Mirza family. And that money gets sent to Panama. And they're storing it overseas. And this is embezzlement. So, man, the amount of lies that this guy told is epic. It's on an epic scale. He says Ahmadis are afraid to give their children Muslim names. What a lie. And then he says, okay, Ahmadis can't write Bismillah on a wedding invitation. What's the big deal? The Mirza family won't let you dance at a wedding. You don't cry there. The Mirza family tells you don't spend money at a wedding. You don't cry there. So when the Mirza family and the Ahmadiyya movement do it to you, you don't say anything. In the Ahmadiyya movement, you gotta, if you convert to Ahmadiyya, you gotta wait 1 year to get married. Isn't that persecution? So why you complain about Bismillah on your wedding card when you make people wait a year before they can get married? What kind of nonsense is this? Okay. Then they start flashing photos of Ahmadis who were mistreated, but there's no corroborating evidence. Any Ahmadi gets shot in Pakistan, they call it a faith-based killing. These Ahmadiyya homeopathic guys who are handing out, this is alcohol and sugar, it doesn't work. They call him a doctor, Ahmadiyya doctor killed. Bruh, he's selling homeopathic meds. He ain't no doctor. What are you talking about? Nope, they called him a doctor. So, okay. Then he says, oh, Ahmadi doctors are serving people in Pakistan. They're with, bro, they're working with Humanity First and trying to get converts. Humanity First is a fraudulent front organization. You know, knock it off, man, with all the lying, man. You know, what about uh Humanity First in Thailand, in Malaysia? What are they doing there? So then he claims that his puppy delivered 10,000 Ahmadi babies at Rabwa. She served Pakistan. She didn't. She served the Mirza family. She worked for free or nothing. And now she's broke. And now you're crying about it? She should have did it at the regular hospital or did it for free for Pakistan, not the people at Rabwa. So knock it off. And even if she did it for Muslims, she did it so, and then she could say, "Oh, I was an Ahmadi and I helped you. Now I want you to become Ahmadi." So the lies continue. Then they claim Ahmadis have a target on their back, and then Ahmadis make a painful decision to. That's a lie, man. Everywhere I went in Pakistan in 2003, 2004, everyone asked, "If I become an Ahmadi, can I leave Pakistan? Please?" I'd go to Ahmadi homes. They'd be like, "Put our son in your suitcase," and they're serious. So everyone in Pakistan is trying to get out. They're trying to go and make some money. So okay, then she claims to have done some research in Sri Lanka, but she doesn't know about the refugee scandal. She hasn't spoke to Afaf Azhar and Noman Alam, who know a lot. So how did you do research but you didn't talk to Afaf Azhar? I don't get it. Then she says, "Oh, Ahmadis contributed heavily to the creation of Pakistan. Pakistan should have never been created in the first place. Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh should have stayed together. Those are 4 ports. You split the ports up and destroyed the economy of Hindustan. So knock it off. You're doing what the British and the Americans are telling you to do, and we're telling you to do. You did whatever they wanted. So stop crying about it." So okay, then she says, "Oh, it's so hard for Ahmadi asylum seekers to start over in the West." Bro, I worked in a towing company. Some guy was a refugee. He said he showed up to America. They gave him fully furnished apartments, everything for free. He came in California. We gave him a job. He was a and then he had an FBI investigation. He ended up working for a big rig company. What are y'all talking about? Knock it off, man. Knock it off. And then surprisingly, Amjad Khan admits that there's Ahmadis in Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand who are waiting to be legally prosecuted. He admits their children can't go to school. Well, then why did they go there? Why does your Khalifa telling Ahmadis to go to Malaysia on a visit visa and stay? Why is your Khalifa telling Ahmadis to go to Thailand on a visit visa and stay? Why? They won't tell us. He won't speak to that. And if you ask him, he'll be like, "Nope, the Khalifa didn't say anything." Well, who told him to do it, bro? At least tell us that. Then he admits Ahmadis are facing unspeakable cruelties in refugee camps. He says they're professionals, right? Then he admits there's Ahmadi refugees in the LA area, and all Ahmadis are related to each other. So he's like, "Oh, I know some, so I hear some of their stories, and they need help to adjust in America." Bro, you should have stayed in your country. Why'd you come to a country that persecutes minorities worse than any country in the world? How does that make any sense? You came to this country to escape religious persecution? This is the country with the worst record of persecution. Look at the Native Americans. Have you seen any? So what is this about, man? Then she says, well, Hazara Shias and Christians are facing the same issues, but they don't get asylum as fast as Ahmadis, right? Right? Why don't Hazara Shias why aren't they fast tracked the way Ahmadis are for asylum? Why aren't Christians fast tracked to get asylum? And does she know that Christians complained about Ahmadis in these refugee camps, saying they're faking it? She doesn't know all that. So she did a program about something that she doesn't exactly know everything about. Okay? So if we're in America, we face persecution. Where do we go? Where do we go for asylum? We just stay here and just deal with it and live with it. We could get shot by a cop anytime. So, okay. Then he continues to cry. Oh, it's so. He says, oh, Pakistan signed the human rights, so they have to agree. Bro, Pakistan is a puppet government. These are all puppet governments. Everything in South America, Central America, they're all puppet governments. Okay? Look up the Monroe Doctrine. America ain't letting nobody. America lets the British and the French, but the Spanish are not here anymore. They're relegated to Spain at this point. And then Amjad Khan says, well, in the courts, there's due process. Stop. What due process did Bill Cosby get? What about Tupac? What about Kyle Rittenhouse? So America has the most corrupt court system in the world. And he's saying there's due process. All these lies just to help Ahmadis. It's out of control, man. And the last note that I have, he says the Pakistani government has put restrictions on voting for Ahmadis. Well, hold up. First off, Ahmadis can vote in Pakistan. They got to fill out the same form they filled out for their ID card. They didn't cry for the ID card. They didn't cry for the passport where they self-identified as non-Muslim. It's the same paperwork to vote. The Khalifa told Ahmadis not to vote. And that's what's going on. He doesn't want to admit to that. Right? And then in America, if you're a felon, you can't vote. There are other restrictions being put on people who can vote every day in America. So knock it off, man. And ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much everything I have. Let's go back to the stream. We have a bunch of folks here. Let me add these guys to the stream. My apologies. Welcome, brothers. I was off on a tangent. Brother Ali, Assalamu alaikum, brother. How's it going?
Walaikum assalam, brother. Thank you very much for invitation. Well, I didn't catch much of the information, although I caught few minutes what you were saying about asylum cases. And well, I would share some of my experiences, what I saw in Europe, particularly because I don't know what is happening in North America, how they are filing those cases. As far as I remember, in Germany or all Western Europe, they basically used to get all these fabricated police cases, which they used to bribe, get those first investigation reports and use those ones. And some of those used to pay money to some unknown newspapers, those.
Yeah.
So get those reports published and take those newspapers along with the police report, and they used to prepare a case and say, look, we have a life-threatening situation for our family and for ourselves. We can't live in Pakistan. Although there is no such things on the ground level, right? There is no such thing going on. Lately, what happened in these countries, particularly Germany, France, and even UK started doing it. They started hiring local security companies to investigate those police reports, whether those incidents happen or not. So when they cross-check those incidents, they never even appeared, never even happened, right? So now their cases are getting rejected. They've been kicked out. And they try to find some other places like Malaysia, Thailand, Sri Lanka. From those places, they can get a UN quota. Through UN quota, they can go to nearby countries like Australia, New Zealand, or some of those Western countries. That's the way around to get to Western countries.
Yeah.
So they have no such things in Pakistan. They have a full freedom. What about those people who are running a multinational companies in Pakistan, like Mercedes-Benz, Shizan, Ahmed Food, right? There are so many multi-million dollar companies operating in Pakistan. and those company owners are Ahmadis, and they are
Oh,
paying taxes. They get VIP treatment, and they have no problem to operate their businesses, and they have employees as well. So if those people can live freely, there's no issue to operate their business and employ any people from their own community and outside the community. So why there is an issue with other people? I really don't think so. They get VIP treatment in some places because they play victim card. Don't forget that entitlement mindset they've been using since 125 years.
totally. Totally, man. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. Do you know who Amjad Khan is?
Uh, I don't know much. Please update me on that if
Yeah, so
you
he's
if
their
you
big
have a
lawyer.
time.
Here he is. Do you see his photo?
Yeah, I saw this person, but I don't know much about him.
Oh, well, let me tell you, he's a Harvard lawyer. He's same age as me. I grew up with him. I played football with him in Los Angeles at the Chino Temple, right? His grandfather was a Murabi. He's very trusted, and he's fighting all their asylum cases in Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. He's their main lawyer for any action. If the Khalifa gets in trouble in the UK, he's probably going to go.
So, in other words, this is a good example of organized cartel, which use a name of Islam to spread their wings all across the Europe or all other countries. And if you see all these members, they basically pay money to this Khalifa or their head of the community, so-called head of the community or Khalifa. Actually, that is a family business, and that family business been operational since 125 years. When we dig down more information, you know that they've been fighting against each other to grab land or properties. That's their history. So they used religion to make other people fool and grab their lands and properties and the money. And they used the excuse that we are using that money for Islam's propagation, which is totally incorrect. So all that money goes into their Panama accounts, all their tax haven countries. So nobody can ask them where are you spending those monies. There is no accountability, and there is no check and balance.
Totally, man. Totally. So, hold that thought,
Yep.
brother Azhar Sheikh. Are you there?
Yes, assalamu alaikum Shaji.
वालेकुम
कितना
सलाम जी किदां जी
oh बस ठीक है तुसी सुनाओ Shaji. I was listening you before and also Ali Bhai, and
Oh, I think we lost you. Yep, I think we lost him.
Uh, Chiksa, we can't hear
he's
you.
Oh, there it goes.
oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so one family here, their Qadiani family, and somehow he got American visa for 5 years, and he came here first, then he left, then he came here and he left again, just to just to show the immigration that I'm a very nice person, and I come here to see my sister or family or someone, and then I leave. Suddenly, this guy he started living in here, living in U.S., and his visa got expired. He got overstayed in the United States, and then he applied asylum for as an MD, and now his case was denied, and he's in jail. He's about to be deported from United States. You know, what I heard, that they said that this newspaper is also belongs to your community, and you are the only one. I mean, this community is publishing fake news in there to attract the asylums to the countries. They are giving asylums to the Ahmadis now. Now these 2 3 papers he put his news in. They are known in the United States and the Europe also. So slowly, they are. Every country is understanding this cult, that what they are doing. As my brother Ali mentioned, if there is a persecution in Pakistan for these nonsense people, why Sir Shahnawaz's family is still there? How come they are doing businesses there? Mercedes, Shahnawaz Mercedes, and
Oh yeah.
Ahmed Foods. Can you hear me?
Yeah, totally.
Ahmed Foods, and also there are many other businesses they own, but these are the most popular businesses. They have Shizan, Mercedes in Pakistan, and the Ahmed Food. These are three big businesses. Other than these three big businesses, they have more businesses in Pakistan. And mostly the community is doing business, not the jobs in Pakistan. So if they are happy and they are making money, they are taxpayers in Pakistan. Although they are tax evading or not, that we cannot blame on it. Maybe they are doing, but we cannot blame that they are doing this. So far, nobody knows that they're evading the taxes or not. But how come? The question is that how come these people are sitting in Pakistan, getting VIP treatments? They have some of them. They have their own planes, the small planes. How come they are happy in Pakistan? The other Ahmadis are not.
Right.
This is what the
And
question is.
right. And the reason is because they're not doing tabligh. If you don't do tabligh, you're fine. People don't know you're an Ahmadi or a Sunni because of your name. Your name sounds like a Sunni name. A Christian is in more trouble because their names are different. Sikhs, you can tell this person's a Sikh by their name. You know, even with the Shia community, by the name, hey, this guy's most likely a Shia. So it's all BS. So let's go back to Brother Ali. Brother
Shaji,
Ali,
one second,
yeah,
one second.
yeah,
Let me add something in it. First of all, let me clear you one thing, that they have no such thing in their religion, Tabligh. They do Tabligh out of Pakistan somewhere where nobody knows the religion. You know, there's nobody knows what the religion is basically. They, some kind of banana republics, or uh, these places where there's no religion, might is right, like Jungle Ka Qanun. In
right,
Pakistan, it's not only they are not allowed. In Pakistan, nobody does tabligh. I never heard anybody became Ahmadi because of their tabligh.
right,
Never ever I heard. I'm 65 years old, and of course I lived most part of my life in America. But of course I lived in Pakistan too, and I never heard that they do tabligh to anybody. No, they don't do there. No, just keep in your mind, they do not do tabligh in Pakistan. No, simple.
yeah. Who are you gonna do tabligh to? Everyone's Muslim. If 99% of the population is Muslim, what's the point? If everyone's already Muslim. So yeah, but in Ahmadiyya, religious freedom equals the ability to go and give out their literature. But in the rest of the world, that's not true. Religious freedom just means being able to practice your religion, not to do tabligh. So yeah, understood. But back to Brother Ali. They also mentioned Amjad Khan said, "Oh, Ahmadis aren't allowed to vote in Pakistan," right? And he was crying about it. But really, the Khalifa told them not to vote. That's the reason they don't vote. In the Buddha election, they voted. Yeah,
Can I
Well,
answer? Can I
yeah,
answer
sure.
this,
Well, sure. Well,
Ali Bhai?
let's let
uh,
Brother Ali go
uh,
first, then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
if this is excuse that they don't have a right to vote. Let's put it this way, they have a full freedom in Western countries to vote. What impact have they made? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I always quote one example, which is very small example. In Europe or even in the UK, they couldn't get halal food in schools and hospitals. Other Muslim brothers, they got the recognition. They have a complete organization which basically serve halal food in shops, restaurants, schools, and hospitals. They've been established well before any other Muslim community in the UK. They were established back in 1924. It's nearly 100 years. What have they contributed? Almost nothing. So they've been saying Imam Rashid, who is still alive, and when I was in a college, I used to go and used to do a part-time job in McDonald's. They used to sell all these, beef or chicken or anything, right? So I asked him, is that lamb or sandwich permissible? He said, just recite, takbir, bismillah, and consume it. That's fine. Then why Muslim slaughter animal in the name of Allah, in the name of God? Jewish people do it for the kosher and Muslim do for halal. Why we do it? Even the chicken, if you see, the chicken is halal when you eat meat. So you are saying that we don't need to slaughter anything on the name of Allah, just recite, takbir and eat that chicken. No, that chicken never been slaughtered in the name of Allah. So that is not halal, that is not permissible. But if we see this Qadiani Jamaat teaching, their Imam of London Mosque, Fazl Mosque, is saying, no, that is permissible, you can consume it. So basically we are defeating the actual teaching of haram and halal. So there is no difference. So
Right.
when it comes to the voting, they have a full right. Every community have a full right in Pakistan, Christian community, Sikhs, Ahmadis, because they've been declared in 1974 that they are not part of Islam. They represent totally independent religion. It's nothing to do with Islam. What they have done, we got to understand the fundamental difference here. Basically, they are representing counterfeit of Islam that is not the actual Islam. So this is why they've been given opportunity to present themselves. Their third caliph presented arguments for at least 40 days, 1 month, over a 1 month's time. So they couldn't convince the parliament of that country. So after the conclusion, they decided they don't fall into the definition of Islam. This is why they've been declared as a non-Muslim.
Yeah, and let me just clarify. Ahmadis can vote in Pakistan, but they say they don't want to fill out the form because they have to identify as non-Muslim. But when they fill out the form for ID card, they identify as non-Muslim. When they fill out the
Exactly.
form for passport, they identify as non-Muslim. So they're already doing it. So it's all a frame up job. So anyhow,
It's a
brother,
pick and choose.
Yeah.
It is a pick and choose option for them. Whatever suits them, they pick it. Whatever
Right.
doesn't suit their objective, they're gonna cry, they're gonna moan, or we are feeling a discrimination. No, there's no discrimination. You have selected those options that you do not want to participate.
Right.
So it
Okay.
is
Stop crying.
entirely
Now,
your choice.
Brother Azhar.
let me explain to you. When you apply for NIC, a National Identity Card in Pakistan, you are automatically registered for voting in your constituency. You automatically. You don't have to fill out the form these days. because the man who the head of family man, the number, it's now these days the NIC is like this, that I am head of the family, my name is Azhar Sheikh, I have 4 children, and all the children are under over 18, who have right to vote in Pakistan. So as my wife, until otherwise it's stated in that somebody is deceased. Now, when Ahmadis are in Pakistan, when they apply for an identity card in Pakistan, which is NIC, they are automatically voted, and they do get the vote perchi in their homes also. It's not that they are not; they are allowed to vote, but as Ali Bhai just mentioned, that it's all Khalifa's will whether they wanted to vote or not. Now, before in the election of 1970, why they voted for Bhutto? Why they spend money on Bhutto? You know that they paid him millions of rupees, in his election to make him successful, because they knew one thing, that Bhutto is not too much interested in Islamic religion. But the ulama of that time in 1974, they insist him to, to bring this case to the National Assembly, the Parliament, whether they are Muslims or not. And they gave him a chance of 13 days, and finally they found out that they are not Muslims. And also, you know what? When Bhutto was signing this ordinance, and he told Yahya Bakhtiar, the Attorney General at that time in Pakistan, he said that I am going to sign my death warrants today. That's what these are his words, that I am going to sign my death warrants today. And he did it. And somebody asked him that how you did this. And he said that when that time the Muslim population was not even a billion, it was a little less than a billion. He said that when जब करोड़ों लोग ये समझते हैं कि नबी अकरम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम आखिरी नबी हैं, तो मेरे ख्याल में ये वो ठीक हैं, and they are wrong. That's the only answer he gave. Nothing long answer. Just this answer he given to that person. I know the name of that person. His name was Mishtaq, and Mishtaq was his mushakti in the jail. His servant in the jail when he was in the jail for, waiting for his assassination, or whatever it was, the death penalty.
Right.
So that was the thing. They are automatically registered for vote in Pakistan. It's saying that they are not registered, they don't have a right to vote. This is a white lie. This is a white lie. When you make your ID card in Pakistan, you automatically register for a vote. They don't have to, when you are in the computer, why the government send door to door people to write their votes? You know that? Whether your vote is registered or not. It's automatically registered when you apply for an ID card. Yes, non-Muslim, they know that these are non-Muslims, because they write now Mirzai on the card, you know that.
Right.
The
So,
ID card.
in America, it's a little different. In America, you have to register to vote, and if you don't by the deadline, then you can't vote. There's so many restrictions on voting in America. But brothers, with that being said, I try to keep these videos short. We're at the 45 a minute mark. Feel free to go back and watch it. Amjad Khan told a bunch of lies to what's the name of the TV? Hold on. He told a lot of lies to Rabia Mehmood with a Naya Daur TV. Check out my essay on this topic. I just published it. I'm going to show you guys where it is. I got all my notes in there. It took me an hour to watch that video and take notes. A real cumbersome process. But here, I'm going to share screen. Here's the essay. Go and check it out. All the data is there. Look, you can see all of my notes of how he lied at every timestamp. I got the whole thing laid up, ready to read. And ladies and gentlemen, with that being said,
Could
Assalamu
I
alaikum. Yeah,
could I say just a few lines here? Just one simple question. Since 1947 up to 1974, they had a full freedom to vote. What have they contributed? Making, if they were allowed to vote, what contribution have they made on a political level? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was no impact of their vote. Secondly, since 1974 up to now, 47 years, their vote doesn't have any impact.
there's so few
Before
of
and
them.
after, it doesn't make any difference. So,
Yeah.
what are they mourning about?
Well, they're doing it for asylum and persecution, and that's what it's all about. It's all a charade. They want to get Amdis out so they could. That's where the money is. Amdis who were born in the West, they're not giving chanda. They don't pay chanda, bro. You know, Amdis who come over and are immigrants and refugees, they give good chanda for their whole
Shaji,
life.
let me add something in it. Let me add something in it. Okay, when they left Qadian, Mirza Mahmood and his family and all, Mirza Abu Ghulam Qadiani's wife, and everybody, when they left Qadian, and they said that we will come back to Qadian, like Fatah Makkah. You,
Yeah,
you you remember that? I think
right.
you know that. If you have some references, you can read that. Now in Qadian, I'm sorry, in Rabwa, Chenab Nagar, most of the graves has some kind of saying on it. It says that madfoon amanatan. You know that, right? You know what does
Right.
that mean?
Temporarily buried.
Temporarily buried. So basically, when Qadiani says that we have done much in the independence and all that stuff, that's completely wrong. They never accepted the independence of Pakistan. They knew that after a few years or after a few decades, the Pakistan will go back to India, and it's going to be again united India.
Yeah,
So
is that the board right there? I just put it on
Yeah,
the screen.
yeah, it says that because the whoever belongs to Mirza family, they will be taken back to Qadian graveyard.
Yeah.
So they will
So
be
I don't know
buried
what
so
that's gonna
here
mean.
so
temporarily.
so this is what it is. How can they say that they are very much what you say, that a patriot to Pakistan? They are not.
They're
They are not.
not.
Nobody. Every single Qadiani, is waiting for the Bakri visa. You know what is Bakri visa, right? So they're waiting for the Bakri visa. They want to go somewhere in the Europe, or
In the West.
any country.
Yeah,
There are
and
fifth.
and I've seen an uptick of Amnesty refugee and asylum immigrants in Sweden, Norway, Denmark. So they're looking for other places to put them. So yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and but one thing, that as of today, more than 55 people has been, out of those 55 people, girls and boys and women and men, they suicide in Malaysia.
Yep.
And they've been, when they leave home, they don't even know that they're going to come back home, or the police will arrest them living illegally in Malaysia, Thailand, Sri Lanka. One thing. And if you don't believe, I'm not talking to you. I'm not saying you. I'm saying, I'm talking to the Ahmadis. If they don't believe me, go to Bangkok and see what they do for their bread and butter. What the girls do there for their bread and butters. I have 100% truthful examples that they do prostitution over there,
Oh yeah. Oh
because they
yeah.
What?
cannot work. They
Yeah.
cannot work. They are not allowed to work in there. So I don't know where is Khalifa, and I don't even know either if the Western countries like European countries or America or Canada, they call Mirza Masroor as their fifth caliph. They don't call him caliph. You know that. They call him a spiritual leader or their leader.
Right.
They don't call him caliph, and they cannot announce that this is our caliph. You know that.
Right.
Well,
Totally, man.
Shah Sahab, could you please put this image again? You know,
Yeah.
the gravestone one.
Got
There
it.
is a one last line which is very interesting. The last line says, "Jamaat को कभी ये भूलना नहीं चाहिए." So the last line says, you should never forget that those graves will go back to Qadian. So going back to the point which brother Azhar Sheikh said, they never accepted existence of Pakistan. That basically highlight they never accepted it. They knew we will be going back and the Pakistan will be wiped out from the map of the world.
Totally, man. So that is the story. And I've said if the asylum was real and the persecution was real, they could have just went to India and they would have never had to go to Malaysia, Thailand, Sri Lanka. The Khalifa could have moved back to Qadian and everything would have been fine. In fact, they're the only group of Pakistanis, I think Sikhs and Hindus, who would get visit visas for the Qadian Jalsa. How ridiculous is that? No other group of Pakistani Muslims could get visit visas to India, but Ahmadis did, and probably still getting them. So, any last words, and then we're going to end it.
Yeah, Shaji, one more thing. First of all, please send me this image on my WhatsApp, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Number two, the India is all not accepting them right now.
Right.
There are 15 women they married to an Indian Qadianis, and they are not allowed to pass the gate of Qadian, that area where Qadiani Jamaat lives. And it's been years. Their children are now young. They're about to. They have. Those children are now over 18. But those 15 Qadiani women, they had an interview on BBC, which I have it. If I find it in my library, I will send it to you also. That they want to go outside. Their children can go because they all are born in India. But those women, they have no permission to go out of that area where Qadianis lives. They have no, since they are in India, they have no permission to go out. Even this lady was saying, Mr. Chaudhry Maqbool Ahmed's wife, she was saying that how do I tell Indian government that I am a bona fide Indian, Indian citizen. Please let me go out. But they don't. They still think that these people are spies of Pakistan. You know that? Yeah.
Yep,
Please don't
totally.
forget to send me that signboard picture. Okay.
I already sent you, brother. And then, brother Ali, you have the final word, and then we're out of here.
The final word is very simple. Nobody is stopping them to practice their freedom in Pakistan. They've been very selective what they want to do, what they don't want to, based on the advice of their so-called Khalifa. And if they have difficulties, they should talk to their government, their local government in Pakistan. Why not have a dialogues in a civilized world? People have discussions. Why not have an open discussion and bring up your concern? And I would say Mr. Masroor should go and have an open discussion. According to my research, Shah Sahab, I never ever came across a single reference where their Qadiani head of the community had a discussion with Muslims. Not even a single time. They were given an opportunity in 1974 to present their case. They had a golden opportunity to, present their case, but they miserably failed. So I would say in a civilized world, you have a full freedom to engage in dialogues. And if you want, betterment of your community members, there's no one is stopping you to have a conversation like brothers, communicate your difficulties and convince them so we can resolve these issues. It's nearly 75 years.
Totally,
So that's
brother.
my last word.
Yep, and thank you for
Shaji,
those.
I have a last word too.
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay. Trust me, I have no problem with Qadianis and Ahmadis. They are good people. And I had friends and I have friends. I had in Pakistan, and some people know where I live, that how many Qadianis live there, and they are living very peacefully there. As long as their religion concerned, I have no problem. They can practice freely, like Hindus does that, like Sikhs and Parsi and other religions do their practices in Pakistan. The only problem I have with them when they use the names of Muslims and they pretend they tell people that they are Muslims. Like, let me give you an example. If somebody comes to my door and says, "Hey, this is a David. Can you tell your dad I'm a David? David is here outside," and I will right away I will understand there's a Jew outside or there's a Christian outside. And somebody says that, "Hey, this is Ram Kumar Sharma outside," so I will knew that this is Hindu. But if somebody comes to my house and says, "Hey, this is Mirza Masroor outside," so I will think it's a Muslim. You understand what I mean?
Right.
So the only thing, if they change their names to Mirza Qadiani's, like Jalash, Shalush, Abdul Jalash, and Abdul Kalu or Abdul Kukkad or Abdul something, so we will know that, oh, there's a Mirzai outside. It's not a Muslim outside. You understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
we need a recognition that who is at my door. You got my point?
Yeah, totally.
That is
And
the only problem I have with them. Otherwise, I love Hindus, I love Sikhs, I love other religions in Pakistan. I have no problem with them. As long as their names are like Muslims, that this is what my problem is. That I cannot recognize that who is standing outside waiting for me, who I'm going to talk. Is he Muslim? Is he Hindu? Is he Christian? Is he Jew? Who is this guy outside? This is what the problem I have with them. Otherwise, I have no problem with them. That's it.
sounds good, brother. And thank you for those final words. We were able to keep it under an hour, which is always my goal. Thank you, brothers, so much for coming out. And with that, assalamu alaikum and peace out. I will catch you guys next time.